It's the Happy Hippo Harmonium channel here, and this is another video looking at learning to understand the harmonium. We're slowly moving from scales to chords, and we've just got a little bit of groundwork to cover. So by now, I hope you know the drill. If you don't understand, ask. In this video, I want to start to lay the groundwork for forming the relationship between scales and chords. And to do that, we're going to have a look at a couple of things, and we're going to apply that to some new scales. New major scales, I should say. And what I think is really good is if you play scales enough, you start to begin to hear what the scale sounds like rather than mathematically work it out using the half and whole steps. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a couple of scales, new ones that we haven't looked at, and that's going to be A major and also D major. So, let's begin. A major goes A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, and back down. Let's look at D major. D major goes like this. It goes D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, and back down. I will put those in the description for you so that you can read them without having to memorize them. Now, if you paid attention, you'll notice a couple of things. Well, first of all, let's go back to A major, where it goes A, B, C sharp, D, E. The question is, as you will remember, this note here is either a sharp or a flat, depending on where you come from. So why do we call it C sharp in this case, as opposed to D flat? And the answer is, well, a scale has all the notes on the keyboard in it, as far as it has at least one A, one B, one C, one D, one E, one F, one G, and then an A again. So, if we go A, B, C sharp, D, well, we've already got our D, so it can't be A, B, D flat, D. It has to be the C, so it has to be C sharp, because there has to be some C in there, whether it be just a C or a C sharp. So we call that C sharp, not D flat. The other thing that I want you to get familiar with is to sort of start to begin numbering the notes. So A is the first, B is the second, C sharp the third, D the fourth, E the fifth, and so on. 1, first, second, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and then the octave. Because if you do that, if you start doing that in your head, it will make your understanding with chords much, much easier. I know some of these steps seem like, well, why are we doing this? This seems pointless. But in the end, it will come together as a nice circle, and if you do these if you lay that groundwork, it will be way easier to understand. The other thing that I would recommend is to follow the finger patterning that I did and that most people do when they play these kind of scales. Most scales follow this finger patterning, and it's not that all scales follow it, but just most. They use the first 3 fingers, 1, 2, 3, and then they bring the thumb around and play the whole hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and back again. Then they bring the middle finger around, 3, 2, 1. Naming these fingers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you get used to that, if you can start to name the notes, knowing that there are 1 of each note in each scale, if you can then start to count the notes, so the first, the second, the third, the fourth. So in this situation, D is the 4th note in A major. And then if you can start to use the correct finger patterning and practice that over and over again, you will have learned a lot for the next lesson. I hope you understood what was being talked about in this video, And in the next video we're going to move on to chords, and chords are one of my favourite things on the harmonium. They really just make the playing so much more rich and so much more deep. So let's get going and let's check it out.